Hello and welcome to Tech Deals Windows Performance Review on the $200 HP 14-inch notebook computer. I have previously reviewed this computer, link to that in the video description below, as well as to the first boot Windows setup video and a full playlist of videos on this computer. For about $200, this is an amazing value for the money. Why? AMD quad-core processor. It's a true 4-core processor, 4 gigabytes of main system RAM, 32 gigabytes of flash memory storage, and a 14-inch 1080p Full HD screen. It is under 4 pounds, very small and lightweight and easy to travel with. Now, please understand, this is not a high-powered computer. If you are looking for a multitasking machine, something to run many programs and do heavy, intensive game work, this isn't it. It's a $200 laptop. But if you need an extra computer to travel with, go to school with, maybe give to the kids, or just to have around the house, it's a great value for the money if you keep your expectations in check. Now in this video, I'm going to be showing you some basic Windows performance, web browsing, playing videos, etc. We're going to download and install a couple web browsers. I'll show you the disk performance, the solid state drive performance that comes with this machine. In upcoming videos, they will be linked in the playlist down in the video description below. I will test a couple of games. Now this is not a gaming laptop, but it will play some casual games, and I'll show you a couple of examples so you have an idea of what it will and will not do. First things first, storage performance. I have pre-run Crystal Disk Mark. This is a benchmark designed to test storage performance, hard drives, solid state drives, flash memory, etc. What you're looking at on the screen are 8 different tests that it ran. Really, the 2 that are the most important are on the bottom. The single queue depth sequential and then the 4K random read and write performance. So focus just on the bottom 2 numbers. 154 and 136 megabytes per second read and write respectively. That is the sequential transfer rate. That's the copying file speed. If you're moving files from an SD memory card or an external hard drive, that's the performance that you can expect. It's very respectable. It is, however, actually slower in terms of transfer rate than many modern hard drives. But that's okay because sequential performance is not what you use flash memory for. It's random performance. Looking at the bottom line, random performance is quite good. Now, this performance is not as fast as a full-fledged solid-state drive. This computer has what's called eMMC storage, which is embedded multimedia card storage. It is not a full solid-state drive, but it's better than a hard drive. It's kind of in the middle. Typically, a hard drive is going to have anywhere between half a megabyte to 1.5 megabytes per second read and write speed in the queue depth of 1 4K test, and this has 11 and 9 respectively. So this is on average 10 to 20 times faster than a hard drive actually running programs, booting Windows, starting up, shutting down, running updates, etc. It is noticeably better than laptops that come with hard drives. It is not, however, nearly as fast as a true solid-state drive. These numbers are upwards of 5 times slower than a full solid-state drive. But given the limitations of a $200 computer, these numbers are very respectable. The key takeaway here is better than a hard drive, not as good as a solid-state drive, good enough for a $200 computer. The next program I want to show you is CPU-Z. This is a free program that you can download that gives you information about your computer. Very useful to see how much memory you installed, what type of graphics you have, what type of mainboard you have. The purpose we're downloading and running this today is to use its bench feature. Now this is a fairly simple benchmark, but it's easy because everyone can download it and run it in 5 minutes. I'm going to click the bench CPU and it's going to run this test. You can test this against your own machine. Now this number itself doesn't mean anything. You have to compare it against your own machine or other machines to get an idea of what to expect for performance. The first number there, 512, is the single-threaded performance. That's 1 core. Many programs, many tasks that you will still do, even in 2017, are still single-threaded. And then you have the multi-threaded. Now, this is a 4-core machine, and you will notice that the multi-threaded test is almost 4 times the performance of the single thread. Now, for reference purposes, there are many CPUs you can compare this to. To find something relatively similar to this machine, I have selected an Intel i3 CPU. This is a 2-core, 4-thread processor. However, it is noticeably faster in the clock speed department. This is why you can't always use core count to determine performance. The single core speed of this is triple the performance of this laptop, and the multi-core performance is more than 50% faster. The 2 cores hold it back a bit, but the extra clock speed makes up for it, and it just demonstrates that there's more to performance than core counts or clock speeds. If you're interested in seeing how fast this computer is relative to any current computer you may have, download and run CPU-Z yourself and compare it to see how well that runs. The next thing we're going to do is download and install 2 additional web browsers. Here is Google's Chrome. It is not currently installed. We'll click Download, Accept and Install. We'll hit Save. And once it's finished, we'll click Run. While that's opening, we can close our web browser. On your marks. And it's now downloading the web browser. How long this takes depends largely on your internet connection. Now this part I'm going to leave in, the installing part, because this is the performance of this computer. The parts that I'm trimming out of this video are not performance related. I'm typing something in or it's downloading and that's internet connection dependent. I will leave this entire part in because this reflects the performance of the machine, the actual installing part. Now we're waiting for it to open, which again, I will leave this part in as well. And getting started page is coming up. We will maximize this. And then I'm going to download Firefox. And here's the Firefox page. Free download. We'll click download on that. And now we can close this web browser while the download runs. Install. Downloading Firefox. Again, the downloading part itself is internet connection dependent. This part, however, is not. Now my download speed is fairly good, so that's not much of an issue. But this part right here where it says installing, this is the performance of the machine. If you want to know how long it takes to download and install web browsers, the download part is on your internet connection, but the install part I will leave intact so that you can see the performance of this machine installing programs. Granted, web browsers are relatively basic. These are not large, but it does give you something to see. And we're waiting for it to open. No, we don't want to import anything. Next. And we're waiting for it to open. There it is. And there's the almost done, and we're not worried about that. So we're going to head and close that web browser now. With our 3 web browsers installed, the next step is to go through my standard Windows performance review of web browsers. If you are a longtime viewer of my channel, welcome back. If you are a new viewer, welcome. I follow this basic same process in every video. When I test high-end computers, low-end computers, I do basically the same thing so that you can compare relative performance between machines that I test. Furthermore, you can do all of this yourself. Follow along on your own computer and see how well it performs. The first thing we're going to do is open up Microsoft Edge, and we're going to go to my YouTube channel. And here we are at my YouTube channel. I'm going to click the videos button, and I'm going to open up 2 videos. Why only 2 videos? Because this is a $200 laptop. In other machine reviews I've done, higher end computers, I've opened as many as a dozen videos, but you're not going to do that level of multitasking on a $200 machine. So I'm just going to open 2 videos for now. We'll see how that goes. Now the other thing we're going to do is put these videos into theater mode, which will, once the videos actually start, force them to be in HD. And now the video is currently running, you can see here, in 720p at 60 frames per second. And this video is running at, well, it hasn't updated yet. I put it in theater mode. We are going to force it to 720p at 60 frames per second. There we go. That looks better. That's quite pretty, isn't it? So that's running in HD. And this one is running in HD. We'll make that go away. How well is this performing? Beautifully. It is playing these videos without an issue. 2 720p at 60 frame per second videos. Now somebody might ask the question, but can it do 1080p at 60 frames per second? Sure. We'll make that full screen. We'll hit OK. And then we'll set it to 1080p. Now I'm capturing this video at 1080p at 60 frames per second. So this should look relatively smooth. That looks pretty smooth to me. So yes, this laptop will play 1080p, 60 frames per second videos just fine. Look how gorgeous that is. This is not a video being played on the computer. This is a YouTube video being played full screen, captured on my external hardware capture card. Well, now we're on to the benchmark. We will put that back into theater mode. I am using the HDMI out on this laptop to capture this on my Elgato HD60 Pro hardware capture card that's installed in another computer. I do not have screen mirroring turned on. The screen on the laptop is turned off, so the laptop is only driving one monitor. It's not having to drive both the internal screen as well as the external screen. The next thing we're going to do is open up Google's Chrome. And here we are at the Yahoo Sports page. I use the Yahoo Sports page for all of my Windows performance videos. The reason for that is, and this is not a commentary on the quality of the content at Yahoo, that's a personal preference, but Yahoo's website is technically complex and frankly an old design. They really need to update this. Every element on here, this ad here that's auto-playing a video, this autoplay video, this score box for the Super Bowl game that's about to come on, headlines. If I put my mouse here, this video is going to start to try to play, or at least it's thinking about it. It's still updating. As I scroll this down, oh, there's a video auto-playing. Who will win? Yes. This website is technically complex. I just made hundreds of requests to the Yahoo page as well as to several of their ad providers. It's smooth, but that's because we only have one up. I have opened a dozen or more of these pages on higher powered computers. I'm not going to do that here. We would just bring the machine to a stop. But what I am going to do is I'm going to open up fantasy football, NFL, and NCAAF, and then I will click on NBA to force load a new page. Now you will notice that they're scrolling up here and that it takes some time to load. This is not an internet connection issue. I have a stellar internet connection. This is entirely computer speed and the complexity of the page. This shows the limitation of browsing technically complex web pages. Now, when it comes to watching videos, these run just fine. Now, that's a fairly static image. We'll come back over here. Okay, I probably should load up different videos because those are fairly static, but they are playing very, very smoothly. We'll fast forward this a bit. And it's buffering, and this should run here in a second. That's playing fairly nicely. Now, the original video that you're watching there was only running at 35, 36 frames per second. So there was actually stutter in the original video because that benchmark would not run at 60 frames per second. But it's playing fairly well. We come back here to Yahoo Sports. And I am trying to scroll this down with the mouse wheel at the moment. It is pretty laggy at this point. That's quite slow. Now you might be asking, why am I showing you this if it's quite slow? Well, I've got 4 Yahoo Sports tabs open. If you buy this laptop and you're a Yahoo fan and you want to be able to open up multiple Yahoo tabs, you need more laptop because their site is this crazy. This website is more demanding than playing HD videos at 60 frames per second. Yahoo, please, seriously, fix your website. This is dreadful. In fact, this is so bad, I think I may make an exception. In this video, I'll find another website. I'll open up here in a minute and find something that isn't this bad because this is very, very laggy trying to open any of this stuff. I'm not trimming here. This is real time. I'm trying to scroll. I'm waiting. Nope. It's processing. The CPU is just completely overloaded. What can I say? It's a bad website. All right, that's simply not responsive. To show this, I'm going to open up Task Manager, and Task Manager is in Windows 10 that will show you how busy our CPU is. We're waiting for even that to open. Our CPU is 80% occupied, and it's all Google. That's pretty bad. Each one of the tabs is just crushing the CPU. They're completely using a core per page. We've also run out of main system RAM, which is an interesting point worth noting. We have 4 gigabytes of system RAM, and we are essentially using all of it. Now you might say, wait, you're only using 80%. Yeah, that's about all it's going to let you use. It's paging. We are using swap file. We've got some paged. There's 6.1 gigabytes committed. Yeah, we're completely out of RAM. To do this, you need more system memory. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to close 2 of these Yahoo tabs. And let's see if we can get better response this way. Boy, that's dreadful. Okay, lest you think this laptop is terrible, here's what we're going to do. We're going to close Chrome because that has just brought the machine to a complete screeching halt. There we go. Take a look at our memory being freed up. That's brutal. Okay, some of that is Yahoo, some of that is Chrome. Let's try this. I have never done this before, but we're going to do this. I have now opened the Yahoo Sports page in Edge. I've left Chrome closed. You can see our main system RAM usage is still pretty respectable at 49%. But take a look at our CPU usage. It's being crushed. That is all Yahoo Sports. Look at this. This tab right here, Microsoft Edge, that's Yahoo. It's a terrible, terrible website. Let me close this, and we'll come back here and watch this drop off. 37%, 24%, 18%, 12%. Take a look. I kid you not. Playing 2 HD 60 frame per second videos is not demanding. Yahoo's page is, and it's why I use it in benchmarks. It's why I use it in Windows Performance, is to show you where the break point is, to show you how well it handles. Because if it handles Yahoo's sports page, it'll handle anything. I don't think I've ever come across a website that is more demanding on a CPU than Yahoo's. Now, if you go somewhere else, for example, I have now pulled up the MSN Sports page from Microsoft Network. Take a look at the CPU usage. Now, there are spikes. You can see an initial spike on the graph. I just loaded it before I brought this in. You can see an initial spike where it was loading everything. But notice that the CPU usage comes way back down. Now, it's not as low as without having it open at all, but compared to Yahoo's page, this is much more respectable. Now what you're looking at is 4 MSN Sports pages loaded. I'm simply doing something different because Yahoo just brought this machine to a complete halt. So I am making a slight deviation in my normal testing because if you want to use Yahoo, frankly, you need more laptop, which is kind of sad. Now, if you look at the graph on the screen of CPU usage, I just opened the 4 tabs quickly. You can see them at the top of the screen, and you can see the spikes as I opened each tab. But watch the usage drop off once it loads the page. So on websites that are not as demanding, which is most of them, this laptop's actually fine. And I'm showing you this because I want you to see that it's Yahoo that's crushing it. That scrolls very nicely. I'm doing this, I'm just scrolling that with the mouse wheel. We'll pull this up. Okay, that's so much better. Now, keep in mind, I have also shown laptops that will open 12 Yahoo tabs and handle them all. So you can buy enough CPU performance to do that, but it's not in a $200 laptop. So I want you to understand what you're getting and what you're not getting with a computer such as this. You are getting a limited CPU. So MSN Sports and most websites will run just fine. Yahoo's, look, that's absolutely, I'll just click some links and we'll click one there. And it's thinking about it. Well, trying to do 4 quickly at once does kind of slow it down, but it's getting there. Hang on. And one more. There we go. And how well, look, scrolls very nicely. So it takes a second to load, so you got to be a little bit patient. Here's what I would recommend. I would recommend this computer for somebody who does not want to open 6 or 8 tabs at once. If you're the kind of person who really just wants to open 1 or 2 things at a time, this is going to run just fine. This is quite nice if you are not trying to do heavy multitasking. But frankly, $200, that's what you should expect in my opinion. We'll come back to Task Manager. Look at our RAM usage. Much less than when we were using Google's Chrome. Unfortunately, Google's Chrome is a memory-hungry web browser, and it really chews up the system RAM. Now, normally, this is the point where I open Firefox. I might not be able to do all 3 web browsers due to only having 4 gigabytes of RAM. Now that I think about it, this actually might be the first computer I've reviewed with 4 gigs of RAM. Others had 4 gigs of RAM, but I upgraded them to 8. This I'm not upgrading because if you're spending $200, you're on a budget. If you're okay to upgrade your RAM, buy more laptop. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go ahead and close these MSN Sports tabs. Those actually close relatively quickly. Edge is pretty fast. Oh, that's interesting. That looks like, it says it's in HD, but it doesn't look very HD to me. And it's a little bit jerky. I might refresh that. Let me hit refresh and see what happens. It's thinking about it. Oh, that's pretty smooth. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. That is smooth. Well, it's pretty smooth. And there's another ad, but it's smooth. You can see from the action on the screen, so it needed a refresh. So much stuff being loaded. Here's the takeaway from this whole process. Buy this laptop if you want a basic machine for watching videos, because that's gorgeous. There's no issues with that whatsoever. If you want to watch videos, if you want to do your email, do Facebook, do Twitter, but not all of them at the same time, and you don't want to open 4, 6, 8, 10 web browser tabs. If you're okay to keep it limited, this will work great. If you want to do everything under the sun, more laptop, more RAM, more CPU performance. I was thinking of showing you more and doing more with the Firefox browser, but at this point, I think the point's been made, and I don't want to make this video too long. This is a great value-oriented computer for limited uses, for non-multitasking uses, doing one, maybe 2 things at a time. Play a video, check your email. But if you are the kind of person that opens 10 tabs on your web browser, if you're the person who uses multiple web browsers, who wants to run multiple programs, this is not for you. But for a basic machine to do email, Facebook, Twitter, watch videos, type documents, run Microsoft Office, this will run Microsoft Office just fine. It's a great value for $200. You just have to respect the limitations. Like this video if you like it, share it with your friends if you loved it. Remember to subscribe to my channel using the big huge red button directly below this video. Questions and comments in the comment section below, and as always, check out the video description below. The full playlist of videos on this laptop will be down there, including 3 upcoming game performance videos I have already tested, no spoilers here, League of Legends, World of Tanks, and Minecraft. Those 3 will be coming up soon on this laptop, and you should definitely check those out. The link to Amazon to buy this laptop will also be down there as well. If you found this helpful and useful, please use that when you go to Amazon to get your best deal. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time.